back, but you cannot deny that it makes a lot of money. Sheds, key fobs. Anybody have key fobs on their buildings? These things are great. Okay, so you got a little apartment building. You can buy these locks that activate off of electronic key fobs. Okay, so you take these little key fobs, and they cost $6 a piece. I sell them for $40 a piece to the tenants. All right. So what happens is, I tell the tenants, I say, the key fobs are really, the latest and greatest thing. The reason that you're going to love them is because when you're sleeping at night and you hear the front door open at your apartment building, these locks that work off of these electronic key fobs, they make a very distinctive sound. So you know that the only person who just walked in that door was authorized to enter that building. The minute that a tenant moves out, you deactivate their key fobs, a little computer system. You just shut them down. So nobody, even if somebody steals one or finds it 6 months after your tenant moved out, they can't get in that building anymore. So it's a really safe way to have extra security for your tenants, and you can make money off of it. Because these locks cost a couple $100, and the software program costs a couple $100. But if you got enough people coming in and out of, let's just say you rent an apartment to somebody for $900 a month. I'm getting first month's rent, last month's rent, 1 month's security, and then mom, dad, and the 3 kids, they all need key fobs. So that's $40 a piece times 5. Right there. That's all extra cash coming to me. So it's a great multiple profit generator. This is a 7-unit apartment building I own in New Jersey. And I have washers and dryers, key fobs, direct TV. I have the phone system there. I have a shed out back, and people who want to use it for extra storage, they get charged for that. I've got wireless internet. I got ceiling fans in this building. It all adds up, okay, if you do this stuff. This isn't easy. It takes a lot of work to do all this stuff. It's a great way to make money. And I did all this in New Jersey. You guys know that's a communist country, right? New Jersey. Okay, if you can do that in Jersey, you should have a blast with it in this town. One of the things that I've done that a lot of people haven't done is I've transformed a portfolio. I told you earlier I had dozens and dozens of houses, and I sold them all and transformed almost everything I owned into commercial real estate. Now I'm buying residential real estate again now, but between the years of 2007 and 2010, I wasn't buying anything. Not residential real estate for sure. So I want to tell you what happened when I did that. In a nutshell, what happened was my cash flow tripled. Okay? Commercial real estate is scary, it's dangerous, but I tripled my cash flow. That's a real number. Once I got rid of all my residential portfolios and rolled them all into commercial, you couldn't deny it. Okay, so while it's dangerous and it can be scary, it can be very exciting and very rewarding if you do it properly. The quantity of the buildings that I had dropped to 1/3. That was a good thing because I had less time, less places to drive around to. My tenants and my buildings were in a more concentrated area. The number of my tenants doubled because I sold all these houses and these duplexes and triplexes and quads and converted them into office buildings and apartment buildings. But the number of my tenants doubled, and that was great because if somebody didn't pay me to rent, now it became a very small portion of the income that was coming into me. I consolidated everything, and I like to say that what really happened was, you could say I sold all these buildings and bought all these other buildings, but I like to think of it like the equity just changed addresses, okay? Like when I bought Executech Suites and I sold those 4 buildings, I got $100 grand from each of those buildings. To me, those buildings aren't mine anymore. But the money that I made off of those buildings, it never even touched my hands. Because at 1031 exchange, the money goes from settlement of the houses right into a 1031 exchange bank account where an attorney cuts a check for the commercial piece of real estate. You're not allowed to touch that money. If that money touches your hands or goes into your bank account, you now have to pay taxes on it. 400 grand transfer from residential properties to commercial properties, and I saved paying taxes on any of that money. So there's a great advantage to that. It's like playing Monopoly, that's all. It's playing Monopoly. If anybody calls my numbers, you'll hear, I have a bunch of different numbers for the businesses I'm in, and you'll hear that live human beings answer my phone. Falcon Real Estate Holding Corporation, how can I help you? Like to talk to Phil? Let me see if I can get him. It sounds great, okay? And I sell this service for $99 a month. If anybody wants to try it out for your business, we do it with no contracts. And this is the actual girl who answers the phone. All right, I'm lying about that part. I wish it was the actual girl. But I also have my own meetings. If you're ever in the Philadelphia area, I attend a ton of meetings. I'm like a real estate meeting junkie. Sometimes I'm the speaker. Most of the time I'm sitting in the audience like you trying to learn. But I have my own meeting. It's called the Real Estate Assembly Line. And you can check it out on Meetup if you're ever in the Philadelphia area. We have meetings over there once a month. I also rent conference rooms out over there. And these are an example. I told you I got this web TV show and my green screen studio, which I already showed you. This is an example of some of the videos that I do, all kinds of different stuff. And I assume that a lot of people here, you guys are landlords, mostly buy and hold people. Yep. Well, I got a nice little negotiating strategy I'd like to share with you. I call it the rent stays like before. And what it is, let's just say, for example, you've got an apartment for rent for $8.95, and you're having trouble renting this apartment. I don't know how strong rentals are here, but you're having trouble renting this apartment, and a good candidate comes by and he wants to rent the property. There's only one problem with him. He's a good negotiator. He only wants to pay you $8.50. But you want to close this deal. And I've seen a lot of business people, not just landlords, they okay, and they just make the deal. Don't ever do that, okay? Never lower the rent, and never say yes to no matter what they say, okay? So I wrote this down, and I like to teach it to people because I've been using it my whole life. It works, okay? What I always say is don't ever say yes. You know, counteroffer with them, okay? And if they're stuck, let's just say that you try to counteroffer and he won't go for it, okay? What I would say to him is, oh, look, I'm at $8.95 and you're at $8.50. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll split it with you, okay? Now, most people cannot negotiate past I'll split it with you. You came down half, he came up half. It's reasonable. If most reasonable people, they're done right there. So the conversation is over. $872.50, that's what you're going to rent the place for, right? But I just told you, you can't lower the rent, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to say, okay, here's the deal. $872.50 is a $22.50 reduction per month times 12. So you have just negotiated a $270 discount for the year. I'm going to give you that money right now out of the security deposit. Just give it to them, okay? And close the deal. Now, why am I going to do that? Why am I going to give it to them up front?
Set them up for the 13th month.
Set them up for the 13th month. Well, I don't want to lower the rent. The rent must be $8.95. Why? My building is valued on how much rent money it makes. You don't discount that for anybody. I don't care who's in there negotiating with you. I gave him the money he wants. He felt like he won. He felt like he got a fair deal. But the rent is $8.95. You never lower that. Your building's value is valued on how much rent money it makes. If you go to sell that building, $8.95 makes your building worth more money. If you go to refi that building, $8.95 makes your building worth more money. And on the 13th month, you're going to raise his rent, and you're going to raise it on the $8.95, not on $872.50. You know, sometimes a guy will say, well, I'm only paying $872.50. I'm like, dude, I don't even remember that conversation. You know? It's $8.95, all right? This little strategy has made me so much money. I have one office building with 47 offices in it, and I have done this with 38 of them, okay? Because they all talk to each other, and they all know, like, my strategies now. But by keeping the rents high in an office building, commercial real estate is just like a residential piece. How much, it's maybe not a single family home, but a duplex, a triplex, they're valued on how much rent money they make. So the rent is critical. In my office building with 47 offices, I can guarantee you that I am making, you know, thousands of dollars a month or more off of the rents because of this strategy, which translates into tens of thousands of dollars a year in extra rent money, which tens of thousands of dollars a year in rent money translates to like $100,000 in value. So this silly little strategy of the rent stays like before can save you a lot of money. So you definitely should do it. Write it down, it's important. I also rent mailboxes for landlords in case they don't want their tenants to know where they live. So one of the things that I'm doing a lot of today, I call it the 2020 vision. And basically what it is I figure that every piece of real estate that I buy today, I'm keeping till at least the year 2020. All right? So my 2020 vision is, I like to say, I know where I'm going with these pieces of real estate. I've got a plan, and I'm most likely keeping them until 2020. So I tried to write down like a strategy of exactly what I'm doing. I already told you, the market's talking to you, and I'm going to take what it's giving me. I love commercial, but I'm taking the residential houses because that's where I think the best deals are. So I'm looking for motivation, not desperation. Like that story I told you earlier where the guy's selling his house for $100,000. That guy is not a guy, he owns his house free and clear. He's not in foreclosure. He's not desperate. I don't mind buying a house that's, you know, I bought plenty of REOs and plenty of foreclosure properties. But when you're dealing with a motivated individual, he had his act together, he has his act together, his house is paid off, he just needs to sell it for whatever reason. He got a job somewhere else, he needs to move, he needs to get rid of this house. His kids moved out, he doesn't need a big house anymore, whatever the story is. Okay? Motivation is always better than dealing with desperation, so I love it. And you heard in that story, there was no bank in that story, okay? I didn't go to any bank. I'm so sick of banks, man. I don't know what they're doing to you guys, but I got a lot of property, so every single time I go to a bank, it's like, okay, send us your tax return, send us your quick bill file, send us your bank statement, send us this, send us that, send us a sample of your blood, and then the phone goes dead after about 2 weeks. It's like, and then I'm calling them. What? Hello? What's going on? Anybody having that problem here? Well, that's what's happening to me like crazy, and I'm so sick of it. And the point to what I was telling you that story earlier is if you structure good deals, people with the private money are going to want to work with you. They're going to want to invest with you. People always say to me, well, how do I find private investors? I say, you don't. You know, if you want to know where to find them, if you want to find private investors, this is how you find them. Not my cell phone, your cell phone. All of the private investors you'll probably ever need are right in your cell phone. Why do I say that? Because people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And hopefully most of the people in your cell phone know you, like you, and trust you. So it's a great place to get private money. But, you know, what I like to do is I like to structure a beautiful deal, like the one I told you about. And then I go around and tell everybody about it. And the private investors come to me. Phil, I'd love to make 8% on $30,000 in first position. You think you could find a deal like that for me? I think I could. And their name goes on a list, and I go, and now I know I got the money already. All I got to do is find a house. I drop a marketing campaign into a neighborhood where $100,000 houses, free and clear. I get phone calls, and I put the house together with the guy. Deal done. I own the house, free and clear, and I'm making $650 a month off $1,000 rent. 350 of it in principal pay down, 300 of it in cash flow. And all I did was just talk about it. It's a beautiful way to do deals. So what I'm really doing with the 2020 vision is I'm buying houses that are not for sale. Okay? That's right. I'm not buying houses off the MLS necessarily. I do buy houses off the MLS, and I just did buy an REO off the MLS. But mostly because it was a fair deal. It wasn't a great deal. It was a fair deal. Didn't come with seller financing. Didn't come with anything like that. But it was a good deal in the neighborhood that I really want to own. And I'm keeping everything until 2020 minimum, right? Probably I'm keeping it until 2025. So I want to buy in neighborhoods that I want to be in. I'm a little bit geographically challenged. Anyway, here's some of the ways that I find deals. I like to call it the freeway and the almost freeway. Freeway, I network, I go around to real estate meetings all the time, I talk to everybody, all right? Constantly when I go to a meeting, I want everybody's business cards, and I hope everybody's here tonight is going to stop by and grab one of mine. My business cards are on the table, and give me your card. I answer my phone all the time. If you ever want to call me to talk about a deal, Or if you find out about a deal in Philly and you're not going to invest there, don't forget your buddy Phil who's looking for deals. Let me know. I search the internet. I look on Craigslist, auction.com, Fizbos. Or if I see a Fizbo sign, I lock up the brakes. Driving for dollars. What I call driving for dollars. Okay, I'll drop my kid off at football practice. I don't feel like watching him practice. What do? I drive around the neighborhood looking for houses that I can buy. Driving for dollars means, you look for a house where the house is falling apart, or you look for a house where the grass is tall, or there's a letter on the front door, it looks like it's going to be in foreclosure, or in the snow, nobody shoveled the driveway. There's a million signs for what's a good deal, and I call it driving for dollars, and I basically knock on doors and I try to buy people's houses. It's a lot of fun. I get thrown off of people's porches once a month, once every other month, but it's fun. I had a lady recently, she said, I'm not buying whatever you're selling. I said, I'm not selling. And she goes, yes, you are. I said, no, I'm not selling. I'm buying. I'm a buyer.